Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is author J.P.Moss here for another reading of one of my stories as requested. This will be the second story from the book that's outselling, The Kind Fairy Adventures. 3 loving fairy tales from the land of the Fae. The book is The Treasure of Gilgo Forest. I'll get to that now. By J.P.Moss. Illustrations by my sons. Russell was a quiet boy who spent a lot of time to himself. His friends were always trying to get him to go out with them to the amusement park and the fairgrounds to have fun and do what friends do. One day they had invited him to join them at the amusement park the next morning. He decided to go, but for, of course, reasons of his own. Russell was preparing to go out to the amusement park. He wanted to be sure that he had everything he would need. He also wanted to be sure not to forget his money, because he always loved to buy interesting and neat treasures from the amusement park stores. Treasures and collectibles were things Russell loved the most of all. He had a room full of wonderful treasures that were all his own, and he valued more than anything else. He had a coin collection, a stamp collection, crystal collection. He seemed to always have a need for things the most, but rarely liked being around people. Once at the amusement park with his friends, Russell spent all the money he was supposed to spend on them on some rare coin collection he found at the fairgrounds near the park. This was a bad thing, and his friends often felt this was rather selfish and thoughtless of him for doing this. His father, Mr. Anderson, was a tall, smart, dressed man. He was concerned that his son, Russell, might not like the things in life that really matter, and felt Russell was too wrapped up in his collectibles to care for anything else. Ever since he lost someone dear to him, collectibles seemed to fill his void. His father was bothered by this, so Mr. Anderson decided one day to sit Russell down and tell him the stories of the treasures of Gilgo Forest. "Come in here, son. I want to talk to you about some other treasures that are only found in the forest, not far from where we live," Mr. Anderson told Russell. "Cool, Dad. I want to hear more," Russell said. "Son, there are many wondrous treasures to be found in Gilgo Forest," his father told him. "Great! I want to know more. Please tell me more, Dad," Russell said, sounding eager to hear of the wealth he was already dreaming lay out in the forest not far from their home. "You see, son, there are the treasures of color to be found," he told his son. Yes, color. Very good. What else, Dad?" Russell could hardly contain his excitement. "Then there's the treasures of smell to be found," Mr. Anderson explained. "Smell?" Russell thought for a minute, then scratched his head, then decided it must be worth a lot, whatever it was his father was talking about. "Russell, son, there are many treasures to be found out there. For instance, sometimes you might find some interesting crystals also. I suggest you take the time to go out and see for yourself sometime. Learn to like the finer things in life," Mr. Anderson told his son. He then tucked his son into bed and bid him a fond good night, Russell lay in his bed excited over what his father had told him. Jacob and Shirley were waiting for their friend Russell to arrive so they could go out to the amusement park that afternoon to see the sights. The two of them stood waiting outside the store in the middle of town. Just then they could both see their friend Russell walking up from down the road. He appeared to them to be happy about something. The two of them amused. He was anxious to make his way to the amusement park that afternoon. "Hi, Jacob. Hi, Shirley. How are you both doing?" Russell asked them. "We're just fine," Shirley said in a happy voice. "Yes, Russell. I was just telling Shirley about all the fun we were going to have out in the amusement park today," Jacob said to Russell. "Friends, our plans have changed today. We're not going to the amusement park. We're going to the forest, to Gilgo Forest for the afternoon." He sounded excited about his new plans for Shirley and Jacob. Russell had not the intention to tell Jacob and Shirley his real reason for wanting to visit the forest. "What? You mean the Gilgo National Forest Park?" Jacob asked. He was most puzzled by his friend's decision. Russell, the forest? Shirley scratched her head in wonder of what she had heard. The two of them looked at each other in amazement and then decided this was a good idea after all. Okay, Russell, cool. Let's go to Gilgo National Forest. I'm sure we will have lots of fun, my friend. Jacob sounded confidently. Yes, why not? Nature is always fun to see and learn about, Shirley declared. But learning about nature was not on Russell's mind at all. He was focused on one only thing. That was the treasures his father told him existed in the National Gilgo Forest. Chapter 3. After some time of travel, they found their way to the entrances of Gilgo Forest. There they were met by a ranger named Mr. Taylor. Hi there, kids. May I welcome you to Gilgo National Forest, Mr. Taylor told them. Hello, Ranger Taylor. Nice to meet you, Jacob said. Yes, hello, Mr. Taylor. Nice to meet you indeed, Russell stammeringly said, sounding uneasy in his voice. Howdy there, Ranger Taylor. Shirley gleamed with delight at meeting the tall, handsome ranger. Are you kids here for a tour of the forest? Mr. Taylor asked politely. Yes, we are. We are most anxious to do some exploring now, like the riches this forest has to offer, Russell anxiously said. Well, come along, let's get going, said Mr. Taylor. Before long, he was guiding the three of them through the forest of Gilgo. Look there, look at all those stunning and beautiful flowers growing along the forest floor, Mr. Taylor told them. How beautiful they look, like little blue jewels growing everywhere, Shirley said. This is going to be a beautiful nature walk, Jacob said. Russell walked along quietly, not saying much then. He was feeling uncomfortable. The ranger took them through the forest trails under the beautiful trees above. Hey, I see a large eagle's nest up there in the trees above, Jacob said. Yes, that's the nest of a bald eagle, Mr. Taylor said. They all stood and watched as a huge bird flew into the nest to tend the young. Suddenly they were all frozen in their tracks at a howl sound in the far distance. What was that? Jacob asked. He was feeling worried over the sound he had just heard. That was the mating cry of the timber wolf. They are very common out here. Not to worry, Jacob. They are far, far away, Mr. Taylor reassured him. They all stopped to listen out and tried to see the timber wolves off in the distance. Everyone, that is, but Russell. He was looking around the forest left to right, looking for any signs of the treasures his father had told him about. Chapter 4. Mr. Taylor, why don't we stop here and just look about this pretty patch of forest floor, said Russell. He had spotted something shiny there in the forest floor, not far from where they were all standing, and was trying to figure out a way to get the precious object, whatever it was. Yes, I just want to stop and take in all the nature for a moment, he told them. Russell then walked away from his friends alone. They were talking about the wonders of the forest. Finally, Russell made his way to the rocks. They looked like a solid gold nuggets, he thought to himself. Suddenly, Russell heard a strange sound coming from the trees. Feeling frightened, he ran back to his friends. Russell told Mr. Taylor about the strange sounds he had heard. Those sounds are made by the forest creatures who live out there. They are always all around us. They watch over us while we are in their home visiting now, Mr. Taylor said confidently. They walked on while Russell continued to look for the treasures of the forest. Russell was looking about when suddenly they all heard a rustling in the leaves, coming straight up for them. Hurry, everyone! Up this hill here, quick as possible, Mr. Taylor yelled as they all ran up a nearby hill for protection. It's a pack of wild coyotes, cried Jacob, who by now was already at the top of the large hill overlooking a quiet river below. What do we do? Russell asked. We have to stay away from them. They can be dangerous, kids, Mr. Taylor yelled. I have an idea, everyone. Jump, yelled Shirley, and with that they all jumped into the river below. The pack of coyotes finally made their way to the top of the hill where everyone had been standing only seconds earlier, where the coyotes discovered they all had leapt into the river below. Meanwhile in the river, they all floated downstream and into an unfamiliar and strange parts of the forest that not even Mr. Taylor was familiar with. They all finally settled onto a shoreline and made their way out of the river and onto some peculiar-looking dry land. It was coarse like sand. It was a magic sand look and feel to it, the kind you buy in the stores that comes in different colors and molds into shapes into water, while it glitters and shimmers in the light, or so Russell thought to himself as he looked at its texture. Where are we? Jacob asked. "I'm not sure," Mr. Taylor replied. "We should try and get some rest. It's getting dark," Shirley said. They all spent the night beside the shoreline, drying out by a carefully prepared campfire that Mr. Taylor had made for them. While they were laying under the stars, Russell could only dream of all the wealth that he was just sure was somewhere awaiting him to take home and keep for himself. At the crack of dawn, Russell was now more ready than ever to go and do some real exploring. "Are you all ready to do some more exploring in this strange new part of the forest?" Mr. Taylor eagerly asked him. "Or maybe we should find the way back down this river stream and go home. I'm quite sure everyone's out searching for us by now," he added. "You bet. I'm ready to do some more exploring," Shirley said with a huge smile on her face. "Yes, since we're here, we may as well and see what's out there," Jacob said. "Let's see what we can find today," said Russell as he had a smirkish look on his face, knowing why he was there. They walked for some time until Russell heard that strange sound again. He remembered the sound from the other end of the forest. It was familiar to him. Russell started getting nervous. "What's that sound?" he asked Mr. Taylor. Mr. Taylor listened for a moment to the sound, and then a smile went across his face. "Oh, I know this sound," Mr. Taylor said happily. "Watch and learn, kids. You'll see what that sound is," he said. They followed Mr. Taylor to the source of the strange sound. They were suddenly coming up on a circle in the grass located in the middle of the grove oaks of what appeared to be beings hovering about. They had wings in their backs and were no more than 3 in number. They were the fairies of the Gilgo Forest. Russell noticed right away that they were picking things off the ground. Russell thought for sure they were harvesting the forest treasures from the ground below. "I can't believe what I'm seeing," Shirley shouted. "Fairies," said Jacob. "Yes, fairies. It's okay, kids. I've seen them before, kids," Mr. Taylor reassured them. Just then Russell approached them. "Hi there, are you good folks looking for anything of interest, perhaps?" he asked them. One of the beings, all colored in green, with a glittery look to her, and a shiny clear wings that resembled large dragonfly wings on her back, almost as if it suspended in mid-air by invisible strings, took notice of Russell as he walked up to them cautiously. Yes, we certainly are searching for treasures out here," she said in a soft, happy voice. The sound of the fairy's voice somehow comforted the other kids and even Mr. Taylor, who by now was also feeling somewhat apprehensive. They all took note of her short size, and that she was wearing an armor-plated breastplate with sandals on her feet. She had a brownish hair with a warm, inviting brown eyes. "Hi there, I'm Russell," Russell said slowly. Good day to you. I'm Porridge Oats, the fairy," Porridge Oats said. "Nice to meet you all," she said. "What kinds of treasures were you searching for?" Russell asked. Porridge Oats just smiled. He briefly imagined all the possible wonders he was sure to get now. "Porridge Oats, would it be okay if we went with you on this search for nice things today?" Russell asked. Mr. Taylor was now busy with his field pack, and by then Shirley and Jacob were too distracted by the other fairies to hear Russell's request of her. Mr. Taylor had seen forest fairies before. He also knew they were friendly folks. Yes, of course, kind sir. You can follow us and watch us as we collect many interesting things from out here," Porridge Oats said. That the fairies were busy collecting things from the forest floor, but Russell was unable to see exactly what. Chapter 6. The group were now trekking down through the forest. Everyone was talking and making new friends with one another, everyone except Russell, who was looking in some weeds for treasures. While Russell was busy looking in the weeds and brush, everyone else was walking further and further away from him. Both he and they never took any notice of this. "Come on, Russell, catch up to us. Don't fall back so far behind," Shirley yelled out to them. "I'll be fine," Russell shouted back. "Why can't they just leave me alone?" Russell thought to himself afterwards. "Nothing shall stop me on the forest floor," when suddenly he felt something wrap around his leg, then another something, then another. Soon Russell was totally wrapped in vines. They seemed to be moving everywhere in all directions around him. "Hey, everyone, help me! Hurry, the vines have me!" Russell cried aloud for help. No one could hear him yell for help. He continued to struggle onwards with the entanglement of green, leafy vines that were engulfing Russell's legs and tightening their grip. He struggled some more, but seemed the more he tried to get away, the more the vines from the forest floor just continued to wrap his body up. Why didn't I stay with the group instead of falling behind, Russell thought to himself, desperately pulling vines off, but as soon as he pulled one off, another would wrap up in its place. I know why. I was greedy and searching for some stupid collectibles to put on my shelf, he thought. Help me! Someone help me! Russell screamed for help once again. Suddenly the ranger heard something coming far from behind their little group. Listen, stop everyone. That was Russell. Where is he? Mr. Taylor said. We must hurry and help him, Shirley shouted. Russell, what's the matter? What are you doing? Jacob yelled as they all ran back to his aid. Everyone, including the fairies of the forest, all ran back to help their friend, who by now was covered and tangled in vines everywhere. When they arrived, they looked and saw nothing. Just a clump of vines moving about on the forest floor. What's that moving over there? Shirley asked. Suddenly and very strangely, Porridge Oats and her fairy friends began doing something the others thought kind of odd. They started singing aloud. They carried on until the vines released Russell from their nasty grip. Russell then made mad dash to his friends for safety. Oh, thank you, Porridge Oats. You saved me from those awful vines, Russell exclaimed in a grateful way. You're very, very welcome, Russell, and the vines are called sarando vines. They were merely greeting you, Porridge Oats said, smiling. Greeting me? Russell sneered cynically. Of course. And all you have to do is sing for them to release you from their handshake, Porridge Oats said, grinning happily at Russell, and acted as if everyone knew about this sort of thing, and treated the matter as if it were no big deal at all. When he was settled and felt like it, Russell got up and brushed himself off. I'm glad you're okay, Russell. We thought we lost you there for a moment, Jacob said. He hugged Russell. Yes, it's a good thing they were only saying hi, Shirley said, laughing with a great relief. She then hugged Russell also. We should carry on and try to get home, Mr. Taylor said to the others. With that, they all continued on their way through the forest. Stay close, Russell. I don't want you getting so far behind like that again, Shirley said. It's a good thing we have our fairy friends with us. I might not have ever got out of that vine mess back there, Russell thought to himself, and felt better. He had made such a nice new friends. In the forest, he thought to himself about the value of Shirley and Jacob and his friends also. The hugs made him feel very warm inside. I'm sorry, everyone. I was too busy trying to find some forest treasures that I could take home as collectibles to add to my collection, said Russell. Did I hear you say collectibles for your collection? Porridge Oats said. We're not seeking treasures for our collectibles. We fairies seek the precious acorns and walnuts that fall from the trees above. We fairies implant these seeds out and grow wonderful trees, which are one of the greatest treasures of the forest, said Porridge Oats. What's the most greatest treasure of the forest then, Porridge Oats? Russell asked. Love, friendship, and the fellowship of others we care about. This is the greatest treasure of all, and you can't put that on a shelf or lock away in some box for it to collect dust, Russell. Love is a force that makes all things grow, and what it can't make grow perfectly, it heals in the heart, Porridge Oats said to them. I understand now the most precious treasure is each other, Russell said, and he smiled and looked at his friends, both new and old. Yes, I understand now that Dad was trying to tell me last night before bedtime. The forest treasures are the beauty of the trees and nature all around us. These are the great things after all, Russell said. We all need to learn this in life, Russell, Mr. Taylor said. Russell, you mean you wanted to take us all the way out of here because you thought you would find treasures to add to your collection? Jacob asked. Yes, sorry, Jacob, Russell chuckled to himself. No, it's okay. This was a pretty hike, and we're almost home anyways, said Jacob. Jacob, we're already home, Shirley said warmly. With that, they all continued their nature hike homeward, bound together, enjoying each other's company and the company of their newfound friends. Eventually they reached the end of the Gilgo Forest, where they started off their journey. Suddenly, Mr. Taylor smiled at them. Farewell until we meet again. Then he disappeared all at once. The fairies also went back home. In their disbelief, the kids were left wondering if they were there at all in the first place. When he got back home, there was something sitting on the doorstep of his house. It was a small acorn with the inscriptions, Plant this in memory of someone you love. As long as it lives, they will always be alive. Russell did so, and eventually in time it grew into a beautiful oak tree. The end. Thank you for listening to that reading. Thank you very much. Send you all love. J.P.Moss.